Google wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful day in the market to be a bull, as everything I'm looking at here is rocketing. So it's going to be a great day. I see some of these low float penny names on my scans that I know some people are interested in. So let's get to it. As always, I think we're joined with our buddy Steve here in a minute. And when he's done cheating on us with another channel, will be over as well. First of all, man, these Fed dudes will not shut up. Let's go over and take a look at what's going on today. Let's add this in. I really wish these guys would just stop. So we have Fed, Barkin, Bolsick, Collins, not even going to pronounce that one, Kluger, Daly, and Hammock, I'm going to call it. Holy smokes. They're yapping all yesterday. They're yapping all today as well. Thankfully, they're done after this. But just like I put out a little bit of a meme this morning of just, but can we get these guys to just shut up a little bit? Holy smokes. So no economic numbers that really anyone cares about. Crude oil, right? I guess if you're an oil trader, you got to pay attention to that. But it's all the time. So that's a crude oil type number. But other than that, we gotta worry about these guys, right? Sometimes a Fed dude says one thing that the market doesn't like and it cracks, and sometimes they say one thing that they do like and it rips. So I wish there was you can talk before the market, you can talk after the market's closed, but no Fed's allowed to say anything. We lock them in some sort of a dungeon and we wait for the market to open or wait for the market to close, and then they can finally speak. That would be, if I'm president, that's going to be my first decree. But yeah, look at all of them, just tons and tons and tons. So that to me kind of spells a little bit of chop that we have to be careful of, and not, boring chop where you have a range and you can play the range and that's all well and good. But that really annoying chop where nothing happens and a Fed guy says something and you get a spike or you get a rip. And so again, just be wary. We are in that environment today that things could just move dramatically without warning. Because these Fed guys cannot just stop talking. Now, let's take a look at the overall market and what we're doing in the pre-market here. We'll actually go to the futures. Yes, and start there. So far, pretty much flat, right? Yesterday was amazing. I was kind of joking that the funniest thing that could happen would be that we closed positive, but we did, right? So no one cares, as expected, about what Moody's says. Another little meme that I put out there on Twitter. Nobody cared. There's not one single human being who has any money in the market who withdrew it because Moody downgraded it. And if anything, they use the little gap down and then the little sell in the post market as a chance to get more long because they're under positioned. And that's what I think is going to happen going forward. Everyone is going to get more long and attempt to get more long as we dip, if we dip. So things obviously really stretched here, from the lows. We are up. What's the grand total here on the ES? I know it's going to be more on the Qs, but 25% up. And this is why, again, I think we're going higher because I don't think everyone got positioned correctly. So they missed a 25% bounce. So yes, overdone, stretched, need a pullback, need some sort of rest to happen in the short term. In the long run, I think we're definitely challenging those all-time highs fairly soon. Is today going to be the day? Maybe. There's enough Fed guys out there that they might try to bring the market down a little bit by just saying some bad things that, hey, we're not going to raise, that kind of or not going to lower. That might be a thing as well. But so far in the pre-market, whole lot of nothing. And so this was yesterday's close. We pushed up a little bit. We pulled back. We have the 2-day VWAP right here. So this is the VWAP from yesterday and today. You can see we're above that. So we're holding yesterday's kind of advancement or gain in price very well. We are below the 1-day VWAP, so we're just kind of getting sandwiched here. So again, a lot of consolidation going on. There's two ways that a market can deal with an overbought condition like we have. There is via price, which means, right, pulls back, or through time. That's what bull flags are. We don't have to, when I say we have to correct, I don't necessarily mean we have to go down. I think that's thinking that, right, there's a lot of perma bull bears out there that always say, okay, because we went up, we have to go down. It's just not at all the way market works, like in any respect. They can go up and then go sideways for a bit and then go higher. So that's why when you see things like people using, RSI and stochastic and these overbought, oversold indicators, they may be good for profit taking, saying, okay, we're getting overbought, maybe I'm going to take some profit, but they don't necessarily mean that price is going to reverse. They could just mean that we're going to go up and then we're just going to stay up there for a while and then move higher after that. So I'm to the point where I'm not nearly as kind of aggressively bullish as I was yesterday. Yesterday, I was buying everything I could from a day trading, a swing trading, whatever perspective, because I kind of figured that this gap would be buyable simply because it didn't fall apart in the pre-market. No one really seemed to care too much, and downgrades are generally not bearish. You can go look in the past and see that. So today, again, it's just getting to the point where it's overbought. I have to remain bullish. I have to remain with the trend. You just, as a technician, you have to. However, things are getting a little bit overbought here, so we need that condition to kind of come down. And we can add a very simple short-term RSI. I know everyone likes to default to the 14 period, but there's some good study here on the 2 and 3 period, and then also the 5 period RSI. These shorter term RSIs are super interesting. So again, overbought dramatically for sure. And again, we can deal with this overbought in two ways. One, we come down in price. Two, we go sideways for a while. So it's that's what I'm kind of thinking here. So got some good mornings. Good morning. And
Good morning.
Everyone's super. No, you're back from cheating. I always feel like it's like the husband who's, okay, I'm back from cheating on you. I'm going to come back and say hi here.
Honey,
Just,
I'm home.
yeah. It's one day I'm going to change locks. How about that?
Instead of Lucy, it's Michael. I'm home.
So how you doing, man? Another great day in paradise. I was joking to say that we would go green yesterday, but holy smokes.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. It just continued going. I'm just glad I never betted against it.
My perma bears, it's getting to the point now where they started to shut up. They were very loud on the weekend, right? They were very loud on Friday.
Things like that, because I'm going to end up going short, Michael.
I know they've started to. It's like this very much. The market goes up 20%, and then it down ticks 1%, and they get real loud. See, I told you. Have you ever seen the meme of the guy who's like in the first panel? He's like pouring the champagne into his face, and he's got a medal on, and then the next panel he's in like 10th place. That's what I think of the perma bears, because when we were down ticking, we were down like 0.5% at the worst, and they were just, see, I told you so. But as I was going over with the people here, we are really overbought here.
Man. I mean,
we need to chill.
It's like I was on Trader TV, and you guys know I've been kind of messing around with the sunglasses, and that's the environment we're in right now. Rocking sunglasses while trading, kind of thing. That's what we're in, guys. We're riding euphoria. I know that you kind of told me that I don't know if it's euphoria because we're not at all-time highs, but the stock action to me is just euphoric. There's only rare times that we see like action like this.
I just look at it more of, right, technicals. We're short-term overbought. We're long-term nowhere near overbought because we're not at all-time highs, but short-term definitely. Like I was, 25% rip off the lows with pretty much no pullback.
Yeah.
Again, that tells me that people are still underpositioned. So on any pullback, there will be buying, but there has to be some sort of either pullback or consolidation, right? That's what the speech I was given before you got in, is that we are getting overbought. Well, you don't have to go down for an overbought condition to go away. You can just
Now,
go
there's one
sideways
thing that
for a
I
while,
would
right?
I like to add to that. I think it's important there, right where you're saying that right there, because I am seeing the RSI come down a little bit, right? So we're seeing that
Mhm.
divergence starting to happen, right? Where sometimes you'll get a little bit of a weakening RSI. Why? Because sideways action, right? That's
Right.
telling us sideways action, right? With the price action not really going higher, so it doesn't pull that RSI higher, right? And I think
Mhm.
that's something to watch for, right? I think that's what we should be looking at. Does the RSI, can it break where it was? It had gotten as high, at least from my reading over here, towards like 88, and now we're like at like 82. Can we get back? Can we go to like 90? It could still happen, right? And then we're just still pushing to the upside. So I think you watch this here. I think the only thing that would get me a little bit more concerned is like a break of 60. That 60 spot's very important to watch for. A lot of times trends get strong through that 60 spot. And if you look at when we really started rocking and rolling, we broke 60, we came back to 50, and then really started just riding the trend higher on that RSI. So I'd be just continuing to watch that. As long as it can stay above here and we're not getting that where it's red and RSI coming down, when that happens, that's the pullback. That's the sign of maybe a pullback concern. But either way, even if we do get a pullback, I don't think anyone's looking at like big down move right out the gates. I think it matters more about economic data here than even like you've mentioned, Michael. I would say even tariff mentions will scare the market, but it's not as much as what really needs to happen where it's economic data, right? That's the only thing that I think can really break this style of run, because that is actual data, right? Not just talk, but data dependency that even the Fed's going to be looking at, right? So I think that's what we watch. And for right now, it's ride the wave, man. And what about the quantum wave? As we're really starting to get rocketing in those names. I mean, and it's not just quantum, right?
This shows how much I'm a technician, because I think these are all scams and going to zero.
Yeah, man.
But I own this QBTS, and it was, I think we talked about this in the show too, just a very clean ascending triangle here. So when it broke 11, I bought some, and it's one of those you just have to hold your nose
Hold
and,
your nose for sure, man.
buy the stuff, even if you think, right? Because again, in the long run, I think this stock's a zero. Doesn't mean it can't go to 50 before it goes to zero. So I might as well own some on a breakout.
And what you want to look for is charts that are actually working, right? Like this is where we mean why we're like, it's a difference between a penny stock, right? There's a difference, guys. When we see penny stock charts, we go to the charts and we see no real pattern, long-term pattern developing. In these QBTS, perfect pattern. Waves to the upside, waves to the downside. You get that third wave and you got small consolidation at the top. Now we can keep looking for charts like this, right? And I like that chart you brought up there.
Yeah, it's the same as this Rocket Lab, all of these kind of high flyers. I always look at these junky stocks, and if they can't kill it, then it's interesting, right? This went from $2 to 40. Right. Generally speaking, you get a move like this and it comes all the way back down. We see it in all these junky penny stocks all the time. They come all the way back down. But if they can't kill it, and believe me, they've tried, right? They've tried to kill this thing over and over again. That's interesting to me. So that's what I'm looking at with the quantum. That's what I'm looking at with ASTS and Rocket Lab and all these names. If they can't kill it, I'm interested. These ones that spike up and then like 4 days later, they're right back down. Forget them. But these are very interesting to me.
Exactly. And retail favorites, that's where I talk about, right? So a lot of times those are the things that I talk about have what? They have story. Remember I talk about variables. I put out a tweet off of our boy Andy Moss's tweet about how fundamentals can tell you, sometimes what companies to own, and technicals can tell you when to buy them. So shout out to him with that comment. I mentioned also my 4 variables, right? That I include the story and the overall market with that, right? Story can sometimes just drive a stock higher, guys. And you can just be looking back and being like, how the hell is this thing just keep on going? But that's just what can happen, right? And I think we got to continue looking to ride those types of stocks right here.
I will tell you that's how hedge funds work. Again, as someone who spent 10 years in the hedge fund space, that's how they work. They have generally a CFA, some fundamental guy who's like, I think this stock is undervalued if it's a value fund, or this sector is going to get hot, if it's a thematic fund or whatever it is, and then they hand that idea over to the technician, right? And they
It
say,
makes
own this
complete
if it's
sense.
in a trend. And it is completely like Chinese walled. It is, they give the ideas, the technicians decide when to enter, when to exit, position sizing, all of that. Because yeah, it doesn't matter if XYZ company is undervalued.
Mhm.
If no one else believes it's also undervalued, it will stay undervalued. So you need that momentum shift in order to say, okay, yes, it's undervalued, but now it's breaking out, so now I'm interested in the stock. And that two things, and even if you read the CMT curriculum, they don't discredit fundamentals. They just say fundamentals can't predict price action. So what you do is you have your fundamentals, and that's your
Yeah.
reason that you're watching this particular instrument as opposed to everything else in the world. And then you use your technicals to say, this is the moment to buy. This is where my stop loss goes. This is when I'm right on the trade, wrong on the trade, all that kind of stuff, right?
And somehow I feel like this gets forgotten sometimes, right? Like I feel like that just makes complete sense in what you just described, right? And it's just the way that I think any trader that really wants to make it and make more like bigger bets, right? Because as you get bigger and bigger, the key is, you're looking at where can I make these big style bets. A lot of this is going to be determining it into a quality company, right? And so that's where the fundamentals come into play. And then what I like to look at is, does it have a hot story? Because if it can have those three, the only thing that can hurt it is the overall market. That's why I include the overall market. Before I used to say three, and I did not include the overall market. As I traded more and more, I realized that that's still a factor, right?
Yeah.
That's still a factor. There's some times where it's just going to override your trade, right? Even if it has the best story, even if I had the best fundamentals and the best technicals, all of a sudden the market starts dumping, your trade isn't doing so hot anymore. So I think those are things to weigh in, right? And maybe developing a trade plan off of that can be the way that you can start going into a higher quality trades, right? Maybe having a watch list, right? A strategy outlook like Michael has, and he finds scanners that tell him like these are the stocks, right? Then looking into those stocks and maybe doing your own fundamental analysis about them, right? Or maybe even adding that to your system, right? Where it's distinguishing certain technical setups, right? And then it's also looking into those companies and looking into the fundamentals to see if it makes sense, right? If the growth
Exactly.
is looking good and things like that, that can go ahead and then narrow that list down for you, right? Because that's the thing too. I'm sure you've run into this, Michael, where you have a certain system that finds tons of trades. And then it's, how do I filter it?
Generally, yeah, and generally speaking, you have to test that as well. And often it is relative strength. It's the sector it's in. It's that kind of, because like 70% of the gains, this has been studied, of any stock come from the sector, right? If you own the best quantum stock, but they're not in favor right now, doesn't matter, right? Quantum stocks aren't going to go up. If you have the best retail stock, but retail, the whole sector is going down because whatever fundamental reasons out there, it doesn't matter. So yes, there's a huge amount. So your goal is to predict the sector that's going to move, and then to pick 2 or 3 different names within that sector that you believe, for whatever reason, whether technical or fundamental, is going to outperform. So a lot of people will do that. Well, a lot of funds as well, where they're like, okay, we're looking at the XRT, and this is very strong. We think retail is about to break out here. But instead of owning the XRT, let's go into it and let's see what they hold. Let's find something that, if we're looking for really high beta, if we're looking for a lot of juice, we'll pick the craziest one out there. If we're really low beta, if we're more boring stock and we think retail is going higher, we'll pick the boring one out there. And you can tailor your risk on your idea based solely off of that, right? If you're going to quantum, there's an argument to say, if you want the safest quantum bet, it's probably Google. So you could own Google, but you're not going to get a 50, 60, 70% gain in a couple days in Google the way you would with a Rigetti or a QETS or whatever it is.
But it could be a core part of the bigger part of the buying power, which is the safer part of the buying power, where you're bringing the smaller part of the buying power to hopefully get you that big outsized return, to give you that bump
a kicker
up, right?
Yeah,
A kicker,
you've got your
call it, right?
And
Exactly.
a lot of people will do that, is they'll own for retail, they'll own the retail sector, they'll own the XRT, and then they'll find a really high beta or a really high volatility stock in that they like, and then they'll buy that as well. So they own the boring bit, and that's to kind of hedge themselves. But then they've got this kicker or satellite position, some people call it, to really kind of try to get that juice and that outsized exposure.
All right, let's go ahead. We'll catch up with some questions in the chat here, and we'll bring on my man Steve. He's in the back. Let's go ahead. Let's bring him on, and then let's get to some of these great questions in the chat. We're hearing some good ones here. It's good to have you on, Steve. We're ready to go ahead and kick things off here. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's see what I can find here. A couple questions in the chat. So let's start it off here at the top. It's good to see some Boston. What's up out there, man? It's good to see you, man. See you guys on DTTW all the time. Swing Trader here. Great to see you, my friend. And like I said, watch out for the good news. It's coming soon, guys. It's coming soon. I can't give too much. I'm probably already in trouble, but shh, it's coming soon. Stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned.
Is going to cut his mic. Wait.
All of a sudden, my internet gives out. Well, you knew what happened. Mitch got the cut. But yeah, keep an eye out there, guys, because I think it's important. And I think swing trading is going to get big even right here, guys. And one of the things that we're going to do to keep up with that is that I'm going to create there's already a swing trade channel there, but we're going to really kind of kick off also on the Discord side of things. So if you're not in the Discord, get to the Discord, because that's one way that we're also going to post our trades. And there's this new thing that's going to be opening up, a nice feature that will give you guys also ways that you guys can tell us about your trades. So stay tuned for a lot of new things here at Trade the Pool. I just wanted to give you guys a little insight of what's going on here. Let's get to those questions here. First one up is a really great one. How do I join as a prop trader? This one's an easy one, guys. This one, we can really kick it out the waters there. We can just go to the website, man. Just check out Trade the Pool, right? Of course, we have it up all the time, guys. We have it right there in the description below that you guys can just click on it. But that's going to be your best way to learn a little bit more about it. And you can just go through the programs there, right? I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen here to at least show you the way that the website looks, right? And go over there and just check it out, guys. Check out the different programs that we have. If you're maybe just jumping over here because you were somewhere else and you're just joining in, well, check it out, man. And watch the videos. They'll explain it. And this guy, I think I know him. He might explain it very well. I'll just say that. But yeah, check it out, guys. Check out the videos there. It'll explain the programs, how it works. You can go to it as small as a program as $5,000. Maybe you just want to test the platform. You don't want to put all your money in right off the back. I think the $5,000 account is a great way to test it, to see if it makes sense for you. At the end of the day, guys, I'm here to go ahead and tell you guys, if it makes sense for you, check out some prop trading, because it makes sense for me. And if it makes sense for me, it might just make sense for you out there also. So we'll see what happens with that, of course. John, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I know you said you emailed me, so I'll look forward to seeing that email, but just wanted to make a mention there. I know that you wanted to talk about Boston stock there, so we'll go to that stock, that UAMY, and we'll take a look at that action. And then we'll talk a little bit about what I'm seeing out in the chat. And we can get to some stocks action. It's 9:23, guys. The bell's coming faster than you know it. Let's take a look at that stock here mentioned right here. Let's get to it. UAMY, held for over 3 years now. What are you thinking on this?
It looks good, right? It's a cheapie and very volatile, so be careful. In a nice uptrend, I would just draw a trend line or use a moving average or something like that. The only thing that worries me is the reaction here to earnings, right? They had a top here at $4, give or take. Earnings came out, and that's what caused this sell. So that's the one concern if you're thinking profit taking, but it's in an uptrend. So I think my buddy Brian Lund always says it best. Your job should be to go and look and say, is this stock in an uptrend for my time frame, whatever that time frame is? Yes. Keep holding it. No, it's time to get out, right? If you're in something that's in an uptrend, your job is to hold it as long as you can stomach.
All right. And I see this is fully integrated mining, transportation, milling, smelting, selling company. Has 2 operating segments in anime. I have no idea. And zeolite, no idea. Maybe a steel. Has maybe to do with gold and looks like it has some silver and gold exposure. So that could be why it's getting the lift, right? So it has to do with something with products and services with silver and gold. So this is why it's important to know a company, right? And that's why the first thing I said, well, what does the company do, right? I mean, is it in a place where it expects to see a lift, right? In an industry where it sees a lift, this is not a bad story. At least it's what I like about it is that it actually has a pattern. When stocks have a pattern, that's a great thing to see, especially in the small caps. So in this case, this broke out over that March period, right, in 2025. It has been breaking out. Now it's kind of been, for me, in like an ABC correction mode, right? So it's in that kind of mode where it's correcting here. And as long as it can kind of hold above the resistance of, like, let's say even just $2 at this point, I think it looks good. It can just keep kind of developing here. And then you want to see it eventually try to test back towards 4. Because it's just 3 attempts to break 4 here. That 4th attempt, my man Steve would say, watch out, watch out.
You know me well. Yeah, that 4th one's where I get interested.
Yeah, so look for that day, right? And then let us know so that we can trade it on that break of 4. We won't be mad. All right, let's go ahead. We'll get to some stocks out there. And Steph's saying she's on the paper trading today. Took a daily loss hit, and that happens. It happens to me, right? You guys have seen me show it. It's no fun for anybody to see, but it also is a reminder of what it's like to trade outside of prop and inside prop. Inside prop, you get that cut. If it wasn't, that loss could be bigger, and it could be really detrimental to your mental capital, not just your buying power, right? And I think that's the important thing here, and kind of learning from that, and then maybe adjusting, right? And figuring out ways that we cannot get to that spot in one trade, right? That's the main thing. And I think it happens to me too. It's something that we just need to be improving on, and maybe having a protective stop, right? Maybe if you don't want to put a real stop out there where you think we're going to get out, at least in a level where if it did come down, no matter what, you're getting out. And maybe it's before that daily cap hits, right? So that at least you are saving yourself for the next trade. And I heard that it's used for bullets. Man, you see, this is an area I have no idea, right? Do you guys know about this?
No, it makes sense. There's a specific mining thing for bullets, so I guess
bullets. Cool. I saw gold and silver. You see, so you got to know a little bit more inside this company. DOD. Right. Oh, the DOD uses it. You see a DOD deal. I mean, you see, you got to look a little bit deeper inside of that. And if it's DOD deals, that's like big contracts, right? So you're looking for more government contracts coming your way. Let's get to some stock action out there. What are you seeing, man?
Yeah, we're selling a little bit off the open, but like as I mentioned before, right, we got the 2-day VWAP right here, right? So this is the average price for the last 2 days. We're coming back down to it. I expect some sort of rest or recovery. Like we have to, right? We can't just think of it. I always think of the market like a runner. Right? It doesn't, just because the dude's running up the hill doesn't mean he needs to fall back down. Right? I don't understand why people think the market goes up, so it has to come back down. But okay, you got to rest sometimes, right? You got to chill out, and we can go back 3% before we even get back to this low. So far, looks like a little bit of a rest. And like I mentioned, these guys just can't shut up. Look at all. Do you see all this, bitch? Barkin, Balsic, Collins, whoever this guy is, Kluger, Daly, Hammock, all speaking. Like, just shut up, guys. Like, so my prediction is that we're getting one of those days where there will be nothing, and then somebody will say a word that got triggered somebody in some way, and we'll tank a little bit or we'll spike a little bit. It's going to be, I think, a chaotic day just because so many of them are speaking, and they're doing it all day. So at 9, we've got a couple of them speaking, then at 9:30, a couple more, and then at 1, and then at what's 5. So all day these guys are chatting. So buckle up, I guess. Until then, there's really nothing else going on. So we are open now.
All right, we're open, guys. Here. I'm looking at maybe playing a little weakness right out the gates here, but it would be a short little scalp here. We'll see what happens.
Core weave, that was too fast for me. That's why we need bots. So that core weave triggered and sold off. See a little blue arrow there. PLTR. Most of the things I have are to fade upside moves. I heard the British man yell, so I think I got it in that account. But yeah, we're seeing some give back here right off the open.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on 592.60, roughly there. I think that's an area of interest for me. It's kind of like the where the pennant yesterday morning kind of broke out for continuation. So that last point of consolidation is aligned with one of my triggers. So I'd expect a little bounce off of there regardless, but we shall see. I'm also watching QBTS, seeing if that can recover, if that move's done. But that's quite a crazy breakout there. For 15
this is on
now.
my list too for a potential fade if we get, because you can see it spent the whole morning above VWAP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, potential fade if it gets back, closes back through VWAP here.
I'm watching QMCO as a laggard move in that quantum space, but we'll see what happens. They're all on the pullback here. I'll be looking for kind of that support to come into play and then a reversal.
Yeah, it looks like maybe no. Yeah, it's popping up here. Looked like we were going to sell a bit, but not so much right now. SPY's holding on to that 2-day VWAP, at least for now, which is also the pre-market low. So that's an important level. A couple important zones that, again, a little bit choppy action.
TNGX has a small stock moving for $3 break.
Whoa.
Yeah, you see that OKLO?
Yeah, that's gnarly.
So that's one I'm going to skip because the entry would be 39 and the stop would be 42. So could work, but it's a inverse risk reward stock. So nothing I'm going to take there. Just too much, too stretched.
All right, guys, long here on TNGX. TNGX 200 shares. I tried to get 300, didn't get that. I got 200 here. Trying to see if this could be a VWAP bounce right back up. There we go, looking good here. I'm looking for an ad, but towards 280s versus 290s. Looking good here. Just one more dip below the 280s. Not getting it. It's already ripping here. I might just let it go. Yeah, let's just let it go. Let's see if it breaks through 3 and really kind of takes off here. If it comes back toward me, I'm all right. There you go. It's holding in right now. We'll see if this starts to really get going there. This is the leading stock on my scanner, so I just jumped on it as soon as I saw the VWAP pullback. Let's see if this can really start to push through 3. 280s held well there. Let's go ahead. Let's see if it breaks 290s here. I'm going to add 200 and then go for it. There's a 290 break there, right there. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm going to go for it here. Let's see if it breaks 3 really quickly. There's a little pullback. Just looking for the 3 break. If it breaks 3, I could get a little pump here. Let's see. You can risk about $30 here now, $40. See if it starts to get the break above the $3 here.
All right, I'm going to short on here that QBTS. There we go. So again, this is just the basic system there, right? Stop at high of the day. Looking for 2-day VWAP. That's around 228 or 2.28 R. So that's a decent little setup. And then it was what, TNGX? Yeah, as well. Put that up for people watching Mitch's trade there.
It's like back and forth here, right on the breakout spot. So I'm trying to hang in here. Keep getting up, keep getting down. I'm kind of like moving back and forth right now. Breakout over 3, and I'm got a good winner there. So let's see if it gets back to 3. Still at 280s. 280s not too bad on the risk side. The 260. Just needed to go ahead and break 3 here. Let's go for it. Come on.
Just joined with you on QBTS here.
Okay, there you go.
We'll see.
Maybe put that one up. Double entrance there. Cowboys are feeling that short.
It's just a stock that I've been pretty comfortable trading with the past week or so. It's something that's long in my long port, although I did just sell a chunk.
VXX starting to get a little bit of a move there. SPY kind of hanging in here. We'll see if the VXX starts to get the jump.
Yeah, I've been leaving this one up instead of talking about the market because it's just not like this is the opening range and we're just hanging out within it. So I'm waiting to see a break. We came back and tested that 2-day VWAP again, and then we're holding that. But the fact that we attempted a little bit of a rally here, failed, it has me, a little bit concerned anyway that we're going to break this pre-market low. So I'm watching that. I guess shouldn't be concerned because the only trade I have on right now is a short. So not working out right now with QBTS, but that's fine. I expect some chop. Actually, the stop is right there. I expect a little bit of chop on this one, but they're quantum computers, so
seems like it wants to trade back up to this. Oh wow, okay, that's pretty darn strong. Looks like I'm gonna get a little stop out to start the day here, but that's all right.
Yeah, probably the same.
That's a strong one. I'm glad I just trimmed in my the long-term port, but man, I was. It's hard not to sell everything when you're up this much pre-market.
Hey, sometimes like you said, gotta take what you can get. Sometimes it's okay
to
end the day in the pre-market.
Mitch, you were saying Michael, I think you were saying you just gotta. It's your job to hang on to big movers like this as long as you can, even when it feels like you should sell it all, right? So you sell some and see if you don't regret that in 20 minutes.
Well, and it's like, it's really weird because I'm long this one in my personal swing account, and I'm shorted here as well. So it's like my brain is. It's same with UNH, right? I'm long UNH pretty big in my personal account, and I'm trying to get a short intraday, and it's like so the two sides of my brain are fighting each other all the time. And same with this. It's like part of he's like, yeah, keep going, and then part of he's like, no, come back and hit the 2-day VWAP first, and then go. It gets weird.
Coin getting hit hard today.
I mean, hey, we're just
that.
Yeah, coin is getting smacked, but no, it really is. Shoot, I lost my my train of thought there. I'm staring at candles over here.
AMD dropping fast.
Let's see.
Yeah, all of the semis are going a bit. SPY not really, right? That's down a bit and challenged the pre-market low. Maybe broke it by a couple pennies, but is holding on.
Let's see. EDBL is on my scanner for a small cap that looks like it's pushing here. It's just broke a VWAP. I'm going to see if it holds a back test. Interesting.
All right, looking for my TNGX to break the 290s, guys. It's coming back, but I'll let you know if it breaks the 290. That's going to be really the look to 3. Just trying.
Oh yeah, nice reversal there off those lows in the SPY. Yeah, looking like they want to hold it for now. I think the bears have to be so nervous right now.
Yeah,
Google. I like Google guys here.
The bears have to be really, really gun shy.
NRXS is another really interesting small cap that looks like it's breaking out right now. Yeah, darn, missed that one through the VWAP reclaim what's his name? Is that Kenny? They came on our show talking about
Mr. Glick.
Mr. Glick, yeah. I thought of him when I saw that setup, but I didn't take it fast enough. I bet it works though.
Google having a good setup there, guys. A nice recovery. Of course, it has a conference today, and I'm looking for quantum mentions. That's a nice little recovery. I'm trying to get it back here. If I can get it back to 167.80s here, I would love it, but it just keeps rising. And I just watched it cut the 168. I kind of hesitated there, and it's already 168.50. So I'm looking for a pullback here to get in, but it's just rising and rising and rising. Buy is definitely on since that cut of 167.
Not really a day trading stock, but my MindMed is ripping here.
Whoa,
I'll
nice.
take it. I own a irresponsible amount of MindMed. Like I can't tell the wife how much of our net worth is in MindMed. So it's got like
You have how much in a speculative like literal drugs stock? It's
like if we wake up one day and this is a $30-$40 stock, I don't show up to work amount of money in MindMed.
I would split a little bit maybe with Cybin on the cheap when you can get Cybin on the cheap. Those two, at least like if you're doing long term. I like Cybin also.
I got to stick to my technician, right? And MindMed has been holding up over the last 2 years, and Cybin's just hit new low after new lows. Also, the thing that worries me about Cybin is what we found out with weed is anyone can grow shrooms anywhere they want for any reason. MindMed's doing a custom version of LSD, which is hopefully a little harder for people to do on their bathtub.
So the key is Cybin's doing all of them and more. So Cybin actually has, I think, more intellectual property than MindMed. And one of the biggest things that they're doing is they're doing with DMT. And then that right there ain't going to get replicated. And the key with the mushrooms and that's really more based on therapy. So it's more a therapeutics kind of issue. Versus if you can grow it or not grow it. It's not just taking the shrooms, right? Just taking the shrooms isn't going to solve the problem, right? You actually need to talk to a therapist and work through the problem, because if you don't talk to a good therapist, then you could take all the shrooms you want. You're just going to be a burnt guy on the corner, right? I mean,
well, and that was actually the problem that the FDA pushed back on Cybin's latest trial, is because they were including psychiatrics with it, whereas MindMed's decided to not include any psychiatrics at all with theirs, because the problem the FDA had is said, okay, if you're getting people high and they're talking to a shrink and they get better, we can't tell which of those things have done it. It's just unscientific. Where MindMed has basically said, we're just going to give you the LSD and put you in a room, and if you get better, then we can prove that it's our drug. And then the plan is that when it goes live, they're going to put psychologists with it, but for the testing they can't do that. They're also doing something interesting, that it's funny because Cybin was a little bit faster, so MindMed got to see what they did wrong. The other thing was the functional unblinding, which essentially just means you can't put someone in the room and give them a placebo of LSD and say, I've given you LSD, trust me, and it's a sugar pill, because you'll know that you didn't take LSD.
Well, it depends on the person. You might get that faker. Oh, I'm seeing colors.
the guy you gave the oregano to in high school. But yeah, so what MindMed did is they found a dose that got people messed up but didn't fix them. And they have a cohort that they are getting the visual effects and blah blah, and they're able to do that. But anyway, this is getting hyped because it's we wake up and this thing's $30-$40 and I'm out. I'm done.
All right, guys, got a little bit of Google there, guys, off the 168.30s here. So 168.28, gonna try to risk off a little bit underneath this 168. See if Google can just ride higher throughout the day. But I'll be just taking a look at it. I think it's a nice little risk here. It's only about $30 on the first risk, and then I'll see if I have to get back in closer to 167.60. But I still like the trade today.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in coin at this level. If it could dip just a little bit more and then recover this like 262 area, I'd probably be a buyer. I think there should still be some good forced buying on this from the S&P inclusion, but I don't know. Maybe it needs to take a break with everything else.
Yeah, it's really well, I guess the real question when you're looking at something like that is what's Bitcoin doing? Wow.
Well, that's
Bitcoin,
what I'm saying.
I wouldn't expect Coinbase to be up that much with Bitcoin down that much.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of relative strength
Ooh,
there. And
Bitcoin's
also, I think
down that
Bitcoin is
much.
doing a similar thing it did on this last kind of flag, where it backed
Mm.
up to be the volume or the point of control, so to speak, of the pennant, and then just pushed off of that. Seeing a
Look at
lot of
this,
relative
guys.
there.
Just to remind you why we're shooting the shit about other things. Look
Yeah.
at the daily candle of the Qs right now. You gotta like really lean in and take a look at it. So I remember it's 9 that we're getting the first 2 Fed speakers talk. That's probably gonna start shaking things up a bit. But right now, if you can't see the daily candle, you want to be chill. Right now is the time to take a look at things, look at positions, try to figure out potentially what could happen. Tesla triggered a short here. I may take a shot on this. I'm just giving it another minute or so. Again, like with everything else,
Yeah.
what I like about it is the daily chart, right? So it tried to break these prior highs at 350, and it looks like it's failed that for now. I just want to see if it just snaps. If this one candle just snaps back through VWAP. Oh, of course, I'm gonna miss it, aren't I?
Yeah,
That
I'm seeing what you're
QBTS
saying.
got
I
me
think it wants
scared.
to fill back into that last candle's close, pick people up.
Yeah. So I'll give QBTS one more try if it does break here, just for a little bit of revision, right? So that'd be a 1.7R, which means I would have lost whatever and then made 0.7R on top of that. So that would, again, I for me it's like 2 tries, and then I just have just to make sure that I'm not getting into my feels and
2-strike
trading.
approach.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I like that.
some people do 3. I think that makes sense. You just have to have a limit. I've just found myself
Always.
you fool yourself into thinking there's more good setups, but
Yeah.
look at the wicks on all this junk here.
They want to buy it. I just don't know if they can. I think it maybe needs to flush out just a little more here. I think it's going to be
on the
really
lows,
volatile, like you
guys.
said,
See
though.
if it goes.
But yeah, I'm with you on the 2 strikes you're out. For me, I do 3 strikes you're out, but I also think that I probably give myself a little bit too much leeway in that area. It's often good to just sideline yourself if you're wrong twice in a row directionally, on a certain name, and just say, hey, maybe my read here is tinted by X, Y, or Z.
I did not mean to hit that
you can
button.
All right, guys.
Second.
Can it break 3?
boil up
GX, it keeps
10%.
playing, man.
Wow.
I hit the wrong button. I shut down my trading view for a second. There we go. We're right back.
That's the worst feeling,
VXX
hitting the
take
wrong
off.
button in a trade, and you're like, where's my charts?
I think I'm going to take a VXX here, guys. Yeah, it's jumping fast, guys.
Yeah, we are getting, so there's
there.
finally the push down in the market. So that's why VXX would be moving. This AS triggered a short there. I got triggered. I heard the British man, but I need to take the trade a little bit late on that. I need to take the trade in the other account, but we are finally giving it up at least a little bit here on the SPY. So some directional movement. Now we got to watch, right? It's like we need to see these shorts hold, because we've just seen so much recently of you short a little bit, the buyers come and kind of clap it right back up. So now this is the zone I think to watch. If we are under this area, then I think we're good to play a little bit from the short side. If we snap back up real quickly, then it's just more of the buyers faking in. That there needs to be some pullback in order for people to get involved. So we can still barely see the candle today. That's why I always like to go to the daily chart, just to remind yourself of what's actually happening out there, which in this case is nothing. That we need to something needs to happen in order to have some action going on. And we have 10 minutes until these jerks start yapping about whatever it is they're going to yap about today.
Yeah, I think you're dead on with the level to watch there. The question for me just is, I'm not speculating too much because we'll trade what we see, but I'm just wondering, like, can we keep on this trend of failed breakdowns where we just dump like this, we reclaim that kind of shelf that it's that it looks like it's falling off of, and then just off to the races, just like 4 or 5 days in a row. So.
And the reason I think so is that if we look at the commitment of traders data, they're still not invested.
Yeah.
Right. So the average large speculator, so the average fund and institution, still net short to flat. And that is no bueno when the market is ripping like this to be short.
It feels worse than holding longs that are going down, not being involved in rallies.
All right,
I think it probably reflects worse on you in a money managing sense,
Yeah. Another short on QBTS. So this is the second try. If we break high day again, then I'm out. Time to go. But yes, I totally agree, right? And we have a time limit. I keep talking about June because generally quarterly is when you have to send your statements to your clients. So imagine the market being up 2% and you puked out all of your clients' holdings at the lows because you're worried about trade wars, and you have to sit down and talk to them and say, we're out. The market ripped 25% off the lows, so you're down 15% on your holdings, and the market's up. And then, so basically, you would have been better off just holding the S&P 500. That becomes a really hard chat to have with clients, right?
Absolutely.
So the only kind of way around that is that you get in big, and you wait for those moves to happen, right? So
you guys see it. Let's go for it. Can we go for the 3 break even now going to be put on this? So now I can just let it go. I put $8 risk, 2 ticks down here. So at this point I can just go break even now, looking for the breakout. Let's see if I can get it above $3 here. And that's really where the move gets strong here. It's tried it. It's been up there 3 times, right? So at this point, if it pulls back, I'll just get out and look to get back in if I need to for another 3 break, but not going to push it too much. Also got a VIX long there, looking to see if that's going to keep going. I also have an ad to go back if it does pull back a little bit here, as I expect some type of a pullback and then a launch off. Let's see if we get that type of look, and we'll see what happens there on TNGX and the VIX.
Keep an eye on ASPI too. It's a really strong name. I think in biotech. I think that it was down bad pre-market, but I believe it caught, let's see. Yeah, cleanly off of, for me, a daily trigger, also the 20 daily average, roughly. Okay. So I think this one might be on the way back up if it can kind of break this little pennant it's forming.
All right, just got out there in TNGX. We'll look to get back in on the break of 3 later on the day. I think it could break 3 and go for a big run. So I'm going to actually leave a stop trigger to trigger on if it does go back to 3. So I'm out of the position here, and I won't get back into the position if it doesn't break 3. But I think it has the momentum that it wants to break 3 today. So what am I going to do? I'm literally putting a stop to trigger on if it goes back to that 3.
Oh, did we just do was that it? Was that all the bears could muster? We are now back above pre-market lows, back above VWAP, back above the 2-day VWAP. We have reversed there entirely.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. If that's all they can do, that's not good for the old bears. Good for good for us bulls, but if you look at the daily, it's still almost impossible to see the daily chart. So
it's gonna, at least, I'm not saying it'll stick, but it's gonna try to just post a straight green bar like yesterday, just no bottom wick. Wow. Just run it. So congrats, bulls. You did the thing.
It's also not going anywhere either, though. That's where one thing I think, one thing to remember, we're not going anywhere. Where do we go yesterday? From Friday to close.
Treading water.
We went
1.5% from the lows and 2.5% from the pre-market lows. Got to remember, the U.S. debt got downgraded, and we closed positive.
Topping signs, though.
So what is that telling you, right? People are really eager to get in. If we're trading higher than bad news that came out just a couple days ago, sure, we can argue about how relevant it is. Probably not very, but it still is a bad headline. So it's pretty impressive. You can't. What can you say? If you're a bear, you just kind of take your ball and go home at some point.
I think right now, the way the price action is, I think it's wrong to kind of like open up new positions right here, and so those institutions could get stuffed there. I mean, at least from what
it's a
I see.
weird situation. I'm glad I don't need to be fully invested, or else people will leave me. You know, that's gotta be a
Yeah,
stressful
I would be
place to
feeling
be
it
right
really
now.
badly right here if I bought a bunch, and then it's the day that it pulls back, right? Um, hey, we'll see what happens, guys. I just feel like at some point we're gonna get a bull stuffing, and I guess I'm trying to make the money on the bulls.
Question is, how much higher do we go while we wait to stuff the bulls, right? The bulls have made 25% over the last month or so, right? If you're always waiting for what, a 5% correction, and you miss a 25% rally waiting for a 5% correction, I think the bulls are in a scenario because we know we can see that they're not invested enough. They would love the market to spike down 5-10% here, because it would just give them a great chance to buy. Because if you are net short, which they are, right, you can look at the COT data, they have to, right? They need, and that's why I think it's not happening. Is right, as soon as we start to see the bulls start to be like net bullish in the positioning, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, now it's probably time to take a rest. Now it's to the point where every correction they have to buy. They don't have a say. They're short. They have to buy. And until that changes, then it's always the way. You can look at. So that's why I love this COT data. Usually, once everybody is caught up, no pun intended, that's where the tops are. Like if you go back in history and you look, again, we're looking at the red line is the right. This is where they're the most long, just right in this area right here. And then they get a little bit more long right here, and then it falls apart. And then they start to get short, and they start to get they get net short here. And then they're still net short to, like, I would almost argue like flat. So they're net short to flat right here. And then the same thing happens back here. So they get net long pretty much at the most. They start to buy around here. They get net long here, and they stay net long until here's where they start to short. And we get this massive rip. And then they get net long again before it falls out. This is why, again, this is a really interesting data point. The unfortunate thing is it only updates once a week. You can see there's generally not huge swings one way or the other, but it only updates once a week. But this is one of my favorite data points, because if I see everybody long, I'm going to start to look to take a short. Like, this is contrarian trading. Contrarian trading is not, and this is, I should reach out to Jason Shapiro, see if I can get him on. He's a market wizard, and this is all he does. I think he's netted 35% year over year for the past like 15 years. And this is his whole trading philosophy, is he takes the other side of the crowd, and the crowd right now is short. So he's buying, right? He doesn't look at the price action and say we're up too much. He looks at the crowd. He says the crowd's short, so I want to be buying. And if the crowd's long, I want to be selling. And again, does very, very well doing it. And this is a great piece of data to see what the crowd is doing. So when we start to tick up and we're up kind of in this area again, that's when I'll probably say, okay, these bounces probably won't be dipped or bought aggressively anymore.
Yeah, when we're in positive gamma like this, it's really impressive to just see like any kind of dips get eat up so relentlessly while we're still in that zone of like just money wanting to go long. It's impressive, as we say, that we are getting a little bit of downturn here on SPY. So
Keep
we'll have to see
talking,
if we can
guys.
hold
Just keep
that.
talking. Just keep talking.
Well,
Just keep talking.
We got
I'm
to
enjoying all this. I'm enjoying all this.
We're treading water
Look-
here.
Look at today's
Mike,
candle.
too.
We got to talk about something. Look at this. I need to get
Guys,
like an
guys,
extra
just
set
keep
of
talking.
glasses.
Keep talking so that green could stack up here for me, guys.
Picked the wrong day to be tired in the market already. Because
When
now
you
the
guys are
price
talking,
actions-
it literally sounds like Twitter right now. And I'm just telling you guys, I'm over here like, okay, time to get the contrarian hat on.
But
Let's
that is
go.
an interesting
Go.
wow,
interesting
edible
fact that the
going-
VIX is up and the SPY is well off its lows.
Yeah.
So we are getting a bit of a divergence there, where VIX is going and the SPY isn't. Right?
That's what I
We're
want to
at
play.
VWAP on the SPY.
Yo, did anybody take EDBL.
Palantir short
That
too,
one
guys.
is up. I wish I took that when I looked at it. It's now up
Palantir short.
35% from where I could have entered. Whoops.
Yeah, I'm still short my QETS. Nothing's really happening with it. It's working out better. Not stopped out like the last time already, but still consolidating sideways. Again, I'll go over some of this stuff that I've been building soon, but like TNGX, I'm short that one. I'm short this AISP. But these are all like fully systematic style trades. Palantir was a miss, but that was a short up at kind of the 126 area. So some of these shorts are certainly working. Tesla I missed, but that was a great one as well. And then this AS, whatever this AS Sports is, I'm short that guy as well. So again, I'm net short. The market is just not cooperating. And it's just will not go down right now. This is the smallest candle. At least this candle, something moved, but this candle we got nothing, right?
Yeah, for me it does look. I mean, I have no strong feelings here. We're trading into a decent support, but like, I mean,
hey, we got a shout out over there.
They're still pushing us down here. Oh, something's yelling at me.
Got a shout out there, guys. Shout out here from a man tuning in for the first time actually on the YouTube side. Blue Boy, what's going on? How we doing out there, man? Hope you're enjoying it.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Also, Rando's speaking my language there right above him. If price of everything doubles and the market doubles, did we really go anywhere? Well, if you're wealthy and have a lot of your money in the market, you're feeling pretty good. If you have to spend all of your paycheck on cost of, on groceries and everything else, gas, then you feel pretty bad, right? So it's good to be rich as usual. I've heard, allegedly. I'll let you know if that's true someday, maybe.
Break even's on now, guys. And if anything, Palantir looks like an ad here. It's flushing down. It's looking good here. Let's go. Let's go. Gas pedal time. Let's go.
It's wild that, that's got me thinking, right? That we're getting Palantir and the VIX, and then the SPY just nothing.
Look at Palantir go now, guys. Almost got $100 on that. Let's go. If it can drop through 25, I think 125 is a big level to watch, guys. Take a look at the hourly right here. It can drop through that support 125. It can start to go into the gap towards like 120. So that's 5 points down potentially. I'm just trying to ride it right now. And what I did is I put the break even. So I'm pretty much good. I'm just looking for a little bit of a bigger win right now, especially if the market's really going to break here. I'm coming to you, Steve.
I just got long SPY for what it's worth, but I am front running. I think it looks like a. Sorry, I know, Mitch. It's like a.
How dare you be buying stocks in a bull market?
How dare you?
You're supposed to be shorting stocks.
Hold on. We'll be back right after these messages.
I don't know.
I love it. Show your charts, man. Show your charts. They want to see your charts. They want to see your charts, my friend.
People want the charts.
15% on MindMed now, breaking through $8. None of the other guys. It's weird. There's no news I can see, and none of the other psychedelic ones are participating at all. And I don't know why. So Cybin's down on the day. ATAI is another one. ATAI is up a bit. CMPS is one. Okay, no, CMPS is going too. So a lot of these, I guess, are moving.
All right, guys, sold half of that VXX just to give myself some profits, right? I'm deep in the green. I'm just going to sit here, but I'd rather just pick some profits here. Instead of seeing the move work for me, I'm in the green, so might as well just take it. And then I'm just going to let the rest of it work in the direction if it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Pay yourself some and then give it the chance to wiggle around. Because, the SPY is just not like... Okay, so the guys just started talking, these Fed guys. So
the Fed guys. Will they use the Fed as an excuse to knock it down?
We'll see.
I got my charts ready whenever, by the way.
And don't forget that the big boys can do what I like to see, which is we're going to be net long, but we're going to short them today. Don't forget about that, guys. There's different ways to go about it there.
The big guys are net short right now. We can see that in the COT data. So, so might be a chance if they try to slam it back down to reverse. Because, they're still net short a little bit. Not a huge amount, but the large specs are still neck short.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick, what I'm seeing here is this this green trigger is the one that really matters to me. So this green line is kind of like my hourly support. And we also have this big green bank here, which is kind of like a Camarilla system here, where if we're going up, we very often dip into the green zone, and then we'll trade up into this red zone and potentially much higher. But this is an area where I'd like to see a reversal. So I have confluence between that and my hourly kind of trigger here. And also, if we just kind of scroll back, we're trading back into this kind of consolidation that I mentioned pre-market that I was kind of looking to retest. So after that, I'll give you my John Madden here, my X's and O's. So we got the double bottom here. We like to see this, a sharp V and then a nice curl. I think Bulkowski would refer to this as an Adam and Eve bottom, potentially if it forms out. We have the kind of midterm, short-term moving averages curling up. We were trading under it all morning. This was a change of character for me into a key zone. We tagged kind of just falling resistances, which seems healthy. And now we're reclaiming VWAP here. So this is working as anticipated for me. Next step is it needs to clear this high and back test it. And then I can start building constructively, I think, here. But, you know, or somebody else at the Fed will open their mouth and my whole plan will go to heck. But
you have so many lines on that chart, bro.
It's
many lines.
It's a system, trust me. So I don't always trade with all of these. I'm usually pretty limited, but you know,
I think it's the coloring. I think it's the coloring. That's what I would say, Steve. I don't think it's
no,
too many lines. I think it might be the coloring, for my eyes at least.
If it's useful, it's useful. I look at that and I just go, I just don't. You must be staring at it for a long time.
What do the yellow and green represent again? So what's the yellow and the green represent?
So let's see, in terms of the jagged kind of lines here, or
no, the kind of the shading in the back.
Oh, right? Okay. So this is just kind of an area that I'd marked out on a higher time frame. This zone of kind of congestion.
The zone. Okay, so that's like a zone, like a buy zone area that you're looking for, a support zone area.
You know, I'm not even sure where it's from. Let's scroll back and find out. It's pretty old here, so it was an area.
That's what I was looking at mainly.
It was this volume profile shelf here. That's what it was.
Okay.
So it was a big node there, a high volume node. Then I zoom in, and basically I have this green zone, which often you can dip into support and then take the trade long to the red zone. So for example, on most days, you'll see it kind of dip in here pre-market or something, then push up to this red, and that gives you a nice little trade. You can play it around here, and when it's showing strength, take it up off of here relatively reliably. And I know it does look a little crazy. I think I just stare at it enough that it makes sense to me. But in general, I will just pop off my moving averages and just trade the triggers pretty purely there.
Hey, I can't blame you for it, man. You got to do what works for you, right? That's what we always say. And if it works for you, man, you keep it going, guys. Looking for Palantir to drop here through the 125. It's going down fast here. And I'm setting up a protective stop in the green here. But would love to see it break through the 125 here. It could bounce towards the 125.60s, but at that point, I'm going to get out here, guys. I'm holding the stop loss. As it comes back, I'll let it go. But not trying to put it out there, just knowing where I want to take the money. At least I want to take $50 on this trade, but I'm looking for it to break 125 here, and it could really start to break on Palantir.
Pull it up. Yeah, absolutely. Whoops.
This range. So just for reference, right? Yesterday, from the Moody's freakout low to even that opening drive, let's just forget the end of the day action. That was a 1.5% rip. That's what we did in like the first 15 minutes from, you know, the bears getting loud about the Moody's low, and then we ripped off the open. So far, the entire range today is 0.15%. So we have done 1/10 of what we did yesterday for the opening drive to today. So just so you know how extremely nothing the market has done. So make sure you're picking your targets carefully and just you're adapting to that and saying, we're not having this big opening drive that we did yesterday. Nothing's moving. So if you see profits, I'm really much in this. If you see profits, take them, right? And just we are in a very compressed range. At some point, either to the lows or to the highs, we're going to break. But not only are we in a compressed range, we are in a compressed range inside yesterday's price action. So we haven't gotten anywhere near yesterday's low, yesterday's high. We are just stuck inside of a range and stuck inside of a smaller range. So it's just not the time to be really swinging for the fences until one of these ranges breaks. And then if you're on the right side of that, awesome, try to hold on to that. But until then, just know that the bulls are getting frustrated, the bears getting frustrated. It's just the nature of things. We're just not able to go anywhere right now.
Speaking of
here, guys,
I just got stopped
Vic's
out.
jumping.
My idea
Vic's jumping.
did not do what I thought it did, so I'm just waiting here. If we back test this hourly trigger and reject, then I am inclined to agree with Blue Boy here, saying it's in a range and setting up for a drop. That does seem like that's the evidence is kind of stacking up in that favor for me. Okay, maybe they just power candle here because they got me out. That was what they were waiting for. But no, I think that probably it's momentum to the downside here for a session. But
yeah, that's what I'm riding on right now, guys. I just moved my stop on the VIX. I took some gains, and I still have now $70 in the green. I'm looking good. It just broke 53. The VIX looks really good on the 15-minute chart. It just gave an advancing shoulders look and a break of trend line. So that above 53 looks really good now. I can even put my stop at 53s here. It could come back and hit it, but I'm looking for it to keep running here. This could be an all-day run on a pullback here. So what I'm trying to do is try to make some money early here to use it later on in the day. Already have some cash here, just looking to go ahead and kind of expand here. And Palantir is really one that I'm watching. It just took the profits there. I had a feeling it could come back on me. I took the profits there, and now I'm going to look to see if the VIX can just continue to run. Stop loss is going to keep trailing it from this point on. 34 ticks. Let's do it. Let's trail it, and let's just run with the VIX here. Run with the VIX and make some money. Let's go.
This might be why the market's not moving at all. Trump to make 3 p.m. announcement with Secretary of Defense on Golden Dome. So that might be.
Oh, that's ASTS. Who's been talking?
Let's
go. ASTS.
And look at ASTS right now. Nice reversal.
Man. I'm trying to grab
it. Wow, it's looks like it's double bottoming into some really key support here. So I think
I like it here, guys. I've been waiting for a 25 break for a long time, so I'm not going to wait here. I'm going to grab it right here, at least 100 shares, and then look to pull back and add to it if I need to.
I like it.
Grab your Rocket Labs, grab your, I want to say Tesla, but that's SpaceX.
Black Sky.
Black
Sky, BKSY, Planet Labs.
This is the time to make your BKSY. So that's
RKLB is definitely another good one to look for a reversal here. It's down big. So if you want to look for a reversal, it's not a bad way to look at it here. I took them ASTS because that's the main one that's mentioned with that conversation.
Yeah, so how this worked is about 10 minutes ago, there was Trump announcement with the Secretary of Defense. And then a couple minutes later, it was announcement to be on Golden Dome. So that's why we're not doing anything, I think, is because everyone's like, okay, we got to see what's happening there. And then Jamie Dimon came out and started yapping about something, but
VIX guys jumping now 53.30s. I'm loving the action because the SPY hasn't even broken and the VIX is already where it's at. So I'm just climbing up the stop loss and just keep trailing it here.
Yeah, no real Elon Musk, because I guess he must be talking somewhere, because like every post from Walter today is about Elon Musk. I will do less political spending in the future. Or less time on political in the future. I have done enough, he's saying. So basically saying, don't worry, guys, I'm coming back to Tesla. Which is an interesting little chart. Might watch to see if that rebounds off.
Yeah, if we could have a reversal, big reversal, SPY goes to 594, Tesla could be on the watch. Good call, Michael.
I'm just trying to, just because it's again, you guys know I'm not a news guy, but you see none of my alerts are firing because the market's not moved today, right? The market's in the tightest range we've seen in a long time. So I'm just looking for things that it could potentially setups again, like that ASTS, the Tesla, and that's just about.
I think it might be a short here on SPY. It's rejecting short-term moving averages. It's really cooking this long-term one here. I'd like to see maybe one more pop to my kind of confluence of resistance that's been capping us all day, and I'd like to take it there. But I guess I gotta entertain my initial thesis, which is that it is still posting a higher low into decent levels of intraday support. Just feels like something's not right. I don't know. I got the heebie-jeebies.
Those FOMC guys are probably done right now, so they didn't say anything that the market cared about. I'm assuming. I don't know how long these Fed talks are. I don't know. There's no like button to see. That would be a good ad for TradingView. Give me a button that that I can see these guys talk, just so I know when they're done.
I'm canceling the TNGX trade, but it still looks great for those small cap traders. I'd keep an eye on that later in the day towards a break towards 3. But since I'm already in the green here, there's just no point in having that working order out there. But TNGX looks interesting still, developing on the 15-minute chart off also 1 hour resistance, 260. Big watch on that one.
Man, speaking of still looking good, QBTS.
I cashed on the VIX there, guys.
Chill.
I'm cashed out.
And trading into the pre-market highs. Pretty close.
SPY still holding in there. We'll see what happens.
It is. I'm watching this this previous kind of level that it's bopped us down at, especially this top one that's curling down. So maybe we get a little more lift and it can't break this previous swing high. If it does, then I think it's pretty likely that it wants to do some stuff. But let's see where the VWAP is.
ASTS is coming back. I'm already back towards break even here. I'm looking to see if it breaks 25, and that's going to be the big watch for me on ASTS. Seeing Billy in the chat saying Rigetti and QBT on dips are dipping. So maybe that's helping Michael's QBTS short. Is he still on that one?
It is not.
It is not.
No. So I took the 2 hits on that, and I'm fine. Trying to short today. It's just not working. So I have my AS short, and that's about it. But just nothing is. The shorts that happen too fast, and I just miss them. This is, why I'm excited for robotic trading, algo trading, because I look over at my big boy account, and they got all the trades just fine. But yeah, this QBTS just gave it 2 shots, didn't work. So shelving them today, right?
Yeah, that's when you just think about the long-term shares,
VXX pulled back very little, guys. We could see the drop come right now. I'm looking at maybe scalping here on the VXX using some of the cash that I've made.
Yeah, for me it's
just gotta wait. Just gotta wait for the break.
Gotta wait. It's like the hourly trigger is usually what I love trading pullbacks into the hourly trigger, but I don't really like the look it's giving right now. I want to see it pop the short-term stuff, this 1 minute trigger, and then eventually this 5 minute trigger, and then catch that as support. So roughly pop VWAP and back test it.
I think you're 100% right. Mitch has gotten some good trades today. But if these are the most dangerous markets, in my opinion, right? I love a crashing market. I love a ripping market because I don't have I'm a bear, I'm a bull kind of bias. So but it's these markets that me personally, if I go back through my history, if I could have avoided all of these markets in my trading career, I would have way more money because these are the ones that hurt me because it's not going up, it's not going down. It's chopping. And I'm one of those that, especially in my younger days, I would be chasing every move up and chasing every move down. And this is why I'm like verbalizing it to the audience there is just, this is the market that costs intraday traders the most money. The markets that are not going up, they're not going down. They're just straight sideways. So you kind of wait. Good day for iron condors. Yeah. Anyone who's selling options right now is having a lovely day.
Yeah, I've mentioned the market hasn't been going anywhere really. That's why it's not. I don't think it's just been a ride back up either. It's just been kind of just showing this turn, but it won't turn right now. And so I think we got to just keep watching. And I don't think the market would drop too far if we get the drop. I think it's 9 EMAs. or like at least pullbacks to those 8 EMAs or 10 EMA, whatever it is. But I could see it getting into that area.
Yeah, well, what 3%? If we go down 3%, we're at the China deal gap, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? Like
if-
just retrace some of that, right? Because
if we
the market
fill it,
also
that's
doesn't make it
5%,
easy.
right? So, but
TNGX still looking good there.
yeah,
That
there is-
TNG.
Action here.
No, you're good, man. We need some action. We need some actions.
I got nothing. Let me check the scanners, see what's really cooking.
That's what I'm on the street. See if our boy Walter's gonna say anything. But
Oh, cat fight. Sorry.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, that's what we can do when the market's boring. Let's put that on Kalshi. Let's
Hold
start
on,
betting.
man. I got the bet on the one that made that noise real quick. He said,
Yeah, he had a battle cry, right?
better watch out. I'm glad I didn't have the speakers. My cat probably would have jumped on me here.
would have thought you were
Yeah,
were
would have been
threatening
like,
him.
yo, you trying to fight me? Oh man, all right. I'll get Steve in the background. We'll let him come back on in just a second, guys. Let me show you guys TNGX setup here. It looks good for all those penny stock traders. I mean,
SPY moving. I don't want to jinx anything. Is it
I'm
finally?
feeling it. I'm feeling it also with the SPY coming back here. All right, I'll just have some fun here. I'll do a $20 risk here. See if it starts to go. I've been watching this one for too long.
Yeah, it's
See if it can go, guys. TNGX.
maybe finally we're gonna get some movement here.
I'm watching Snow also. I like this setup, man. It's coming into earnings and it could catch this daily sideways consolidation and really rip higher. And it's coming into earnings, right? So like a lot of stocks like to run up right that day into earnings. So Snow is one that I'm watching, guys, just to put it in perspective. I always like to give like maybe an opposite side of the market goes against what I'm essentially trading right now, what you could be looking at for upside. For me, I think Snow has a really nice setup. It cut down through that 182. Now it's recovering VWAP around 182.75, now through 183, and it could just go to 185. Not a bad look there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's
triggered
another
on
popping tail
ASTS.
on the SPY.
Trigger entrance on ASTS for the break of the 25. So now we're breaking 25, and I'm taking the shot on ASTS. I'm going to risk off this 24.75. Look for it to really start going here. I got 200 shares. Let's see if it really wants to make a move.
Certainly could. SPY looks like it might be challenging high of day again, so I don't want to jinx anything, but if it finally goes this time, maybe ASTS goes with it. Try to get something to the upside. I'm looking at my Tesla as well. It's creeping its way back up to VWAP. If it can get through VWAP, that's it's a trade I'll look to take there.
All right.
Again, don't want to jinx anything, but another topping tail. So no break just yet.
TNGX just didn't want to do it. Got close. Didn't want to go right now. I got the stop at 260 right there.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing today, right?
ETHU bouncing back to the VWAP.
Yeah, Bitcoin's bouncing back here a little bit as well. It was down. That's BNB. Sorry, that's BTC.
Yeah, if there was anything that gave me the bet where I started to bet and where I don't open the VIX is when you told me that Bitcoin was coming down. That's where I really started to jump in there. But the fight's out. Who won?
Which one won?
Steve,
Me
who
and
won?
Mitch have
You're
been
on
betting.
mute. Who
Oh,
won?
I'm back. Okay, so my cat that I used to live with me when I was all over the place is reintegrating with some other cats that basically she has her territory down in my half of the duplex, and when another cat wanders down, she does not take too kindly to that.
Hey, let him know. Let him know.
That's what happens if I don't feed them fast enough. They'll start trying to eat each other. They're a little crazy.
Yeah.
Usually they get along, but not then.
All right, guys, we'll look around out there and see what's going to happen here. The VIX jumping right back, guys. The VIX is jumping right back. It's holding that 53, but nothing's really breaking here. It feels like it's going to be a lovely 10:30, 11 a.m. trade here. And as we get the traders out, will the VIX just keep rising? That's what I'm thinking here, as I'm going to maybe look for a little bit of a scalp here on the VIX, just in case we do finally get the breakdown. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens here. Looks like it's going for it.
What I'm seeing is that was the best attempt so far to try to kind of. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Just basically, that was just the first decent attempt by bulls to try to kind of break the structure. They did break they made a higher high. Now we're just literally going back and forth. I mean, I'm hesitant. I'm trying to like draw out my sentence so I can wait and see how this candle forms before I pick a side. But I mean, we're just pinned to VWAP essentially. So I mean, if I can't pick a side, that's telling me something too, right? So yeah, I'm trying to withhold judgment here.
This is not the day to predict, right? Because you're predicted on both sides. It's one of those. I think you could a decent trading strategy. You know, we talk about this all the time, Mitch. That it seems like more and more this stuff's happening at lunch. So I think a trading strategy: put a stop at the high of the day, you put a stop at the low of the day, and you walk away. And it's one of those things where, you have, if any of those things break, great. Could be that none of them do. So there's probably a little scalp to get taken if we finally break highs or lows. But again, this range bound in the middle kind of action, I have like PTSD from trying to predict which side is going to break, because quite often, and they've done that already a little bit today, where they looked like they were going to break down and then we ripped right back up, and then it looked like it was going to break out and then it slowed back down, and it's a good day to be a market maker. It's a good day to be an option seller. It's not a good day to be someone trading kind of the futures options in either side, right?
Yep. So I took the hit there in TNTX a little bit, $23 of the cash that I had in the green, now up about 133, and just looking to keep pushing, guys. ASTS in the green here at 200 shares. Just going to continue riding ASTS if it wants to hold 25 now. At this point, I'm just letting it run with the trend, right? Like if for some reason they're just going to keep lifting it, I'll ride it, even though it could go against the market here. ASTS, I'm just letting it ride. If it breaks 25, I'll get out and look to get back in, as long as the market's not breaking down, right? But let's say if the SPY was ripping through 594, I probably wouldn't be break even on it right now. I'm just letting it go. I did get an ad at that 25, so I'm at 24.98. Just looking to let it keep riding. VIX pulling back there. There he goes. It just cut me out right there, break even. So I could get back in it there. It's just with the market not really moving up today, it just doesn't make me want to jump in on ASTS. What I will look for is for maybe some pickup. Maybe we go down for a little while. ASTS comes to the low, and then in the afternoon, it just gets picked up just because the news is coming out, right? And so I'll be looking later on for this trade also on ASTS.
Well, and that might be one, if you're at your computer. Again, the press conference seems like it's at 3 Eastern time, so you've got that final kind of power hour. That might be an interesting, bring up a screen that's got 5 or 6 of these. We're right back down on the SPY. That's got 5 or 6 of these different space names, and you're just trading them based solely off what Trump is saying, right? If you got your finger on the trigger and you get the fastest stream that you can find, and if he goes, and we're going to partner with, and then you hit a button if there is that kind of move. But it does seem like it could be bullish, and it could tank them as well, right? Because if it's baked in at all that like an ASTS is going to be part of this golden dome, and then all of a sudden he says, oh, and we're going to go with SpaceX, right? It could be an amazing short that happens there, and that wouldn't surprise me, right? Because his buddy's been hanging out with him for a while, who's probably been poking him and saying, hey, SpaceX would be really good to do this thing.
Yeah, we already have the satellites up.
You know, so yeah, it could be good to have a you know, just build a screen of like a grid of all these different names and then look to take the trades, because very quickly could we
Let's go Palantir.
Yeah, very quickly we could have a move based off of whatever when one of those is saying either up or down. We don't really know. SPY had a big down candle that got reversed as well. Oh, you just shorted Palantir, and Palantir actually just came up on my short scan, just FYI, for the VWAP move. So it's too late in the day for me to take them. The cutoff there is 11:30, so or 11:30 my time, 10:30 Eastern. So, but
yeah,
just FYI.
I mean, essentially what I played earlier. Look, so I got the earlier play on Palantir, right? Was the short here, buy here. Now I'm shorting back here. I'm gonna try to buy it right around the same area for the 25 break. We'll see what happens here.
What's interesting, and I don't want to jinx it, but small caps, IWM, actually doing really well today, almost green on the day, and dramatically outperforming the S&P 500. So we are seeing, and the moment I say this, it will probably reverse, but we are actually seeing people selling large caps and buying small caps, which is probably something that hasn't happened in like the last 5 years. Generally speaking, there's supposed to be a small cap premium. You know, people are buying these because they have the potential. It's way easier for a $100 million company to become a $200 million company than a $100 billion company to become a $200 billion company. So yeah, so it's interesting to see small caps doing much, much better than large caps, which again, if you know why I'm even hesitant to say that, just go bring up the IWM long-term chart, bring up the SPY long-term chart. It's just a different beast entirely.
All right, we'll see if we get it, guys. Setting the stop here, about only $18 in the risk. I don't got to risk much to keep trading in the direction that I'm going, so I'll just keep it small on both sides, right? So if it goes in my direction, finally does do a breakdown, I'm still cashing, but at the same time minimizing risk on damage side, right? And that's the key in trading overall. I know that I think Blue Boy was talking about how he's from future side, right? And he's learning the equity side. I think this is the biggest thing in equities that's important, right? Is finding ways to get into positions of strength, build some cushion, let that work. I'm pretty sure they do the same thing in the futures game, right? They're trying to let one trade work, give them some cushion, then they can really feel a little bit stronger to take a bigger swing. As I say, futures traders trade all the time, and you could be trading the Qs, right, with the futures, right, the NASDAQ, right, and doing things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. And to me, this is still a bearish trend that could break down. So I think and you see bar charts here. It's a little different for some traders out there to realize. I mean, we can make it candles. It'll look the same. It won't look too different. For me, I just feel like the candles sometimes, I don't focus too much on the open and close action as much as when I focus on that with the bars. I focus more on that little right hand and left hand little tick that you see there. And to me, that's more important than even the bar itself. I'm just looking to see where those open and closes are. And that's actually very important. It's actually improved, I think, my trading by switching strictly to this on my execution screen and still using candles out there around me, right? Will the Qs go here? Let's go, Vix.
Mitch, really quick, I think you're dead on about on the future side as well, trying to kind of build up cushions. I usually like to think about it as kind of entering defensible positions. Like I'll enter along where I think that it's a good level, and you know I'd be willing to defend it or have a stop relatively close under it. And then if things run too hot, I'll just start taking hedges, you know, in areas that I think I could defend on the short side, you know. And so then it can kind of oscillate down. I can kind of close some of those shorts, use that to monetize or, you know, to build up more of a cushion like we're talking about. So I think futures traders have their head on straight a lot of times in regards to playing both sides of the market. It's I think the medium kind of lends to that, and also, of course, just you got to be fast. You got to be, you got to be willing to change positions or have a long swing going, but hedge against that on the way up.
Yep.
So good points. Good points.
No, definitely. It's ways to kind of adjust and do a little bit of both, right? I also think it's a ways to hedge, right? Let's say you get caught somehow in the equity side, big short on the Qs, and all of a sudden there's a big rip. Well, go make some money on the future side, right? To the long side and make some money that way, right? I think hedging is something that's so underrated. You just need to learn how to start playing it. Another thing that I think is important is looking into pairs trading. That's one thing that I want to start testing more and more of, and creating systems to do it for me. So I know Michael would probably love to hear that. And I think that's the one thing that I'm going to be trying to do a little bit more of, is building systems that can trade more basket approaches, hedging, things like that. I think are the next move in what you guys should be looking at strategy development, because we all know how AI is going to come into play in this game, and that's going to change up a lot of things, guys.
The most profitable traders over the long runs are systems traders, right? Because you don't have to treat trading as much of a sport where your mental game is always 1,000% on point when you have a robot doing, right? Like my own personal discretionary trader completely fumbled the bag this morning. I looked down at the robot; it's doing great because it didn't get nervous about the QBTS trade that I made. It didn't get, it wasn't slow getting the Tesla short. It wasn't, right. It's just, it leaves the human brain, and this is my, again, I have a whole podcast on systematic trading, and the co-host is, he was on the show, Dave, has been a day trader for 25 years. This is kind of only living and purely systematic. He doesn't place any of the trades himself. And what he talks about all the time is that you'll never be the best order enterer. There's no edge in I hit the button better than you hit the button, right? The edge is in the idea. The edge is in the that kind of thing. The execution is usually where people screw up. So by offloading the execution side of things and freeing up your brain for more of the idea side of things, that's fantastic, right? To saying, I like Tesla if it breaks this price, and then just letting a robot deal with it. And I talk about hedge funds all the time. You think the portfolio manager who likes Apple is the one hitting the buttons to buy Apple? It's like, absolutely not. He is, there's an execution trader at every hedge fund, and his sole job is to be the dude that works the order in and out and to play the order book and all of that. And he has no idea why he's buying it. He's just told to buy it. So, if you want to treat yourself like an institution, you're doing the analysis, and then you're passing off kind of the grunt work of hitting the button to buy and sell the shares to something else, which is programmatic and robotic, in which is very close to, I hear, to something that we can do here as well. So stay tuned for when that happens, because I am going to get the big boy account, and I am going to open up and show you guys absolutely everything every day that happens. And I'm going to try to be the first one to pass a challenge without pressing a button. A robot will do every single trade in the account and pass the account.
Roboto.
So, because I think that'll be very interesting. There's a wide breadth of traders that probably haven't heard much about, but they just quietly build their systems and run their systems and do very well. I don't want to jinx anything, but the market's trying to make a run at highs again.
So if you hear Michael start saying, you know what he's saying, you guys. The Michael bot, we need that one. Elon, get on it. ASTS breaking out here, guys. So maybe you might have missed that little breakout there, 25 breakout there, guys. There it goes. ASTS. We talked about the news out there. Michael brought it in here. I was long for a little bit there, got out of it because the market just seemed like it wanted to break down here. Finally seeing the market push up there. And I had a moment there where I was like, do I get back in at 25 here? And I was like, I need to see the SPY break the range first. So I need to see it still break the range. We haven't broken the range, but you are getting that breakout in ASTS now towards 25.30. We'll see if that one can continue to go. Not a bad looking stock right now, and holding the 90 MA pullback. And you can start to look to see if the other ones start to make a comeback, like Rocket Labs right above the VWAP now, right? And so you take a look at all these and start to see if they start to run. Black Sky. You see how the charts look similar? There's a reason why they look similar.
I forgot because I own some. I don't know why I didn't think of this.
No, I wouldn't.
I bought some yesterday, so nice
that
little trade there already.
That's as bad as the scam as you can get there. But yeah, I mean, you can go for it. It has high short interest.
Y'all trying to trigger me. Get this out of here.
No, it's just this thing's such crap, man. There's no reason for this to even gone to 6. I think it's even bankrupt. But hey.
Yeah. Quantum computers don't exist either.
ASTS and Rocket Lab are like real companies, like, you know, in like investable grade, maybe. Well,
yeah, well, I'm not investing in any of them, right? These are robots that buy it, so I bought it. I'm up 8%, I think, so far today. So I'll be out of this in a week. That's the trade is the trade is.
You're no fun, Michael. Look at those long-term charts. It's a big old base that's going to break out.
Yeah,
that's why TA, man.
The base, the longer the space. So
remember, I was trading this one yesterday, guys. If I would have just left on the break even and just gone all the way, and this thing's kept going. SYTA still strong on the day, holding above VWAP here. Could keep going. This has communication equipment. It's in the space area. There's a reason why it's moving. Some people are speculating on SYTA.
Well, yeah, it's one of those. If you see the whole sector going, like we talked about earlier, sometimes you just want to grab the junkiest one, right? You grab the one with the highest short float. You grab the one with the lowest float in general because it has the potential to move the largest. If you've got a sub 100 million share float, makes sense. So you just want to pop on that because if you're just buying and you're selling into this expected announcement, then it's great, right?
Yeah, VSAT had earnings today. Could get the lift. Has satellite technology.
It doesn't matter. Remember when quantum bioscience was moving because of the quantum, and it's like a biotech company, but it was moving with the quantum computers, right? Just so if you ever think that any of this stuff makes sense, right? Just remember this biotech company was moving with quantum computers because it had quantum in the name of the company.
I'll do you one better, Michael. The leading quantum stock this week is up about 50%. I guess Qubits is strong, or QBTS is stronger now, but QUBT, they were a beverage company, and somehow they even caught onto this quantum wave. So it doesn't need to make sense. It just needs to have a low float.
That's why I'm a systematic trader.
Yep,
it's because I can backtest something 30 years. I can show you the win rate. I can show you the max drawdown. I can show you all these things, and then I don't really care too much about anything else.
Well, guys, it's been a tough day indeed. I've at least made cash today, and I could get back into Palantir, but with the SPY above the range, there's no reason to, right? Even though the pattern is bearish, right? You can still get back in there, but there's no reason to at this point. And now it's wait to see if we actually get the breakout here at 594. And then I'd look at different ones. I'd look at like a QMCO recovery through the VWAP. That would be one that I'd maybe keep an eye on. That's, I think, a forgotten one in quantum that I brought up today where people were like, oh, yeah, QMCO. I completely forgot about that one. Well, take a look at the daily chart. And I think this is important, is looking for the laggard effect, right? This one hadn't gone anywhere with that whole quantum move. Yesterday, this thing ripped. It went 30%. So those are the ones you want to, the leader to laggard style trading, guys. I talk about this all the time. You see a leader move, watch for in the space some pickup, right? You can catch the one that hasn't gone versus trying to chase the one that's running. So QBTS, of course, if you tried to get in it now, yeah, you might feel good if you got in it today, but it was definitely on the run already, right? So it's hard to get that one. So you're looking into the space, which one could I get? QUBT has been that one that's right behind QBTS. Now, just recently, IonQ has been kind of sideways, not really giving you gains, sideways trend, right? And so the ones that I'm watching right now that are giving the momentum is QMCO. And then yesterday, Rigetti started to actually try to push a little bit. But I still like this QMCO a little bit more because it's closer towards the daily support versus how the other ones are already starting to trend higher.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you on that.
And
by the way, on SPY,
what you got? SPY?
I'm just a buyer on dips. If we get a 593.50 handle, I'm looking to long. I think that we are coiling at the top of the daily range here. Feels like a bullish breakout's pretty imminent here. So
are they going to rug pull you again?
Probably. Swing alert. What about GME, man? Something's telling me that this thing's getting going. And I've been trying to like resist myself to it, but I don't know. There's something telling me that this thing's been sleepy for long enough and could start to make a move here on the monthly.
Well, it's a Bitcoin play now, right? So it's if you're betting that if Bitcoin's going to break the all-time highs, then GME is gonna move with it, right?
I mean, the monthly chart looks interesting.
Why
is it holding up here? You know?
Yeah. Well, because they own Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's doing well. Right?
That helps.
That could help, right?
It's funny that I think these are the guys, not so much MicroStrategy, because they've been doing it for a while, but it's when the failing retail company is like, hey, we're going to buy Bitcoin, and all of a sudden their price stopped going down, that a lot of these other biotechs and kind of crummy companies like, you know what, screw it, we'll buy Bitcoin too.
Are you familiar with the company BitDeer, BTDR?
No. What's this one?
They used to be and I might be misremembering, but this is my story and I'm sticking to it. They used to be a tea distributor. Then they decided that was far less lucrative than mining Bitcoin. So they pivoted and they went from like penny stock to $15. That was a fun one.
Or why not?
You know.
Yeah. What was it? The AFST. That's like, we're just going to YOLO Solana. Like
that's a business model nowadays. Yeah, maybe
whatever.
I'm not saying we're in a bubble, but if we end up being in a bubble, there were signs, you know.
These are the right. I don't care about 3-year-old consumer sentiment data or 6-month-old GDP data or any of this stuff that comes out way late. This kind of stuff is the first signs of tops that I see. Is again, quantum computers don't exist, and they may be, according to a lot of physicists, completely impossible to ever exist. You're seeing these things are moving, and this ASST, that again, we were talking about this yesterday, Steve. This is, remember, Long Island blockchain. This, when you're YOLOing Solana as part of your business model, and you're holding, like the fact that it hasn't crashed back down.
Dude, it's still going.
These are kind of frothy type signs. Now, we got to the point where people were buying pictures of rocks for $3 million. So we're far from that kind of craze that happened before. But yeah, I agree with you that more so than any, again, dated economic survey data or whatever, this kind of stuff I think is more of a sign that, okay, people are like, this shouldn't exist. If they're an advertising company, if you can't make money advertising, you should go bankrupt. That's capitalism.
Exactly.
Go away.
That's a free market, right? Actually, companies actually being held accountable for their poor decisions. But I mean, I said this when we first talked about this one, asset entities. You don't short a company name called asset entities in the golden age of grift. I mean, what do they do? Who knows? It doesn't matter. They're going to buy Solana and triple.
YOLO.
They're doing well right now. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's holding pretty well on the trend there. So we'll see what happens there.
And Solana's not even doing
the ranks of my scanners here too. I don't like it, but
Solana's range bound here for the last 2 weeks. Ethereum's been range bound for like the last 2 weeks. Same with Bitcoin. All these cryptos nothing's happening. They're doing a little better overall than Bitcoin recently, but yeah, Ethereum's at the same price it was at the beginning of May. So yeah, it's about 2 weeks of nothing, and same with Solana, right? So it's one of those, if you're looking for juice now, if Solana ever gets moving, then you probably just buy this one now, as crazy as it is. If you're sitting there one day and you start to see Solana getting out of this little bull flag kind of action that it's at, then maybe take a shot. Also, this is the AVWAP from all-time high on these. It's crazy how it's holding, and same with Ethereum, right? That's the not all-time high, because Ethereum never got to its all-time high way back here, but this is like that prior cycle high, and yeah, holding pretty well there. But yeah, just nothing. Same with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin hasn't done anything in the last little fake out on Sunday, got everyone super excited, and then came back down. But it was 103 beginning of May, and it's 104 now, which is absolutely nothing for Bitcoin. So this is just kind of moving. One thing that's interesting while we're talking crypto is this Ethereum Bitcoin ratio.
Really cool.
Right? Generally speaking, Ethereum has just been just awful. Like, this has been the worst crypto to ever be invested in. Then just 2 weeks ago, we just had this kind of massive spike out. So it's consolidating here as well. I'm still waiting for the flippening crowd who have been very loud. It's like, yeah, soon we'll be worth more than Bitcoin. It's like, okay. Maybe if he keeps printing enough coins that just by market cap, maybe. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's happening.
It's just so fun. It's like a Russian nesting doll of grifting and just insanity. I mean, there's cool tech there too, but I mean, now we have a micro strategy for Solana, micro strategy. Let's go. Can't wait for the yield generating ETF that they're going to make for that one. I like crypto so much because as a technician, it is that you can't do like a discounted cash flow analysis on Bitcoin. It's just, it is what it is. Can you pull the PE on Fartcoin, please?
Yeah.
No, for
so
my
it is
firing.
Pure sentiment,
bro.
pure sentiment, and stocks are pure sentiment as well. But people kind of fool themselves into other things, whereas Bitcoin, you just can't. It's line go up because line go up, and
it's very pure for sure.
It's
all right, guys. If we do get a breakout here, 2 stocks that I like, NNE and Google here, guys. Google has their conference. It's going to start in 2 hours and 8 minutes. So watch for that one to maybe get the lift off here. And then I'm watching NNE for SMR catch up. SMR has been breaking out and it needs to play catch up here. So I'm going to take a shot here on Google here. If I could see the SPY break to 594, I just can't do it, man. Come on. Google looks good though.
This has been this has been a day. I'll go back here real quick. Look at the daily candle. Look at this little thing. Look at this daily candle. This is just, at least even this one, which was a very narrow range day. You got a little topping tail and a bottom tail. You can't, if my grandma were to walk by and look at the screen, she couldn't see the daily candle. It's so small. There's been less than no action take place. Now, again, from if you go to the futures, from the panic low for the Moody's thing all the way up, this was like a 2% rip, and it was pretty much in a straight line. So some rest after that makes sense, but yeah, the fact that you just can't get moving at all here is hilarious to me.
I mean, we got one of these a few days ago too, right? Like that other little one. Yeah,
this one here. At least we got a topping and a bottoming tail on it, right? At least it did something intraday.
We got that's technically a bottom and a topping wick.
So that was a 0.65% range versus 0.35, right? So
still significantly smaller.
Taking a little bit of Google here, guys.
I did get filled long here off of VWAP, by the way, but it's just a tiny starter position. I just want to have a little skin in the game in case we do get a big breakout here, and I needed a relatively arbitrary spot to buy. So VWAP.
Yeah, and we likely will not be in this range all day. It's just the fact that nothing happened this morning is kind of weird. Again, the only economic thing other than all these guys talking is some crude oil thing that probably won't really matter very much. So
yeah,
Trump, I guess, will move us. This might be one of those trading the open wasn't the move today, but potentially trading the close will be the move because all the Fed guys will be done, and then you've got this Trump Golden Dome whatever thing. So that might be the area to take a look at.
All right, guys. I did take a little starter there on Google long here. Look to see if it can break above. I would like to see it hold 168 on the pullback here, but we'll see what happens on Google. SPY still just chopping around out there. Let's see it take the 594 here and then actually start lifting. Would be a nice sign for the bulls to take it. Can the bulls take it also? Because I know you're saying that the Bears aren't taking it, but are the Bulls taking it?
No one. It's a rest day. And again, we talked about this in the morning. We are overbought. That doesn't mean we have to pull back. Anyone who tells you that the market needs a pullback because it's overbought, they have not studied history or technicals, right? That you can just do nothing. The market can just chop sideways for a couple weeks, and then you'll see all these indicators. They will start to come down over the overbought levels, right?
Right.
These are all momentum indicators, so they're basically just saying momentum's gotten a little bit too hot, and they can just do nothing. They can come in, and again, that's my bet that we're going to see is that because the positioning, we know the institutions are not long, they're net short, so they have to buy, and we're overbought. Those two things fighting means that every dip will be bought, and then kind of every rip will be sold, and then you'll get this choppy sideways action, which for a day trader hopefully won't matter too much. We'll get some action every day to play. For swing trading, it might be a little bit annoying because breakouts will fail. Pullbacks are going to be the way to kind of play when you get that choppy action. And then eventually, once this is all sorted out, either the overbought condition gets sorted out or the positioning catches up. They actually stop being short this market that's up 25% in a month. Then you'll get some kind of resolution in trend. But again, I'm still in the camp that this will be a choppy year. We had 220% back-to-back years. A long-term year of consolidation is actually insanely bullish. Just like, overbought from the short term, you want to see some consolidation for a couple days. Overbought from the long term, you want to see consolidation for a couple months. And
no, you're making some great points. I mean, so many people focus on corrections via price and completely neglect the option that you can correct via time too, right? Just wait for those moving averages to catch up, wait for, all the price negotiation that you're talking about, new buyers coming in, people selling the rips, that'll work itself out. And, we don't have to do anything until the market shows its hand.
Yep. And that's what's the Warren Buffett quote, right? You can, unlike baseball, you can just sit there with your bat on your shoulder and just wait for a fat pitch. And that's feels like the kind of market we're in. I'm in the point where I'm selling a bunch, right? My system's had me buying the dips all the way down, and it was painful for a bit, and then it was amazing. And now it's to the point where it feels a little too late to take trend continuation plays too aggressively, and there's no dips in order to get my pullback type plays. So I think literally the only swing trigger I've had was this space. Again, you can see this purple line.
And that's kind of an indicator in and of itself, right? If the only things that are popping are the super laggards, the trash that should have been floating already, and now is kind of just starting to be the last places to dump money into. So I think we might be getting close to the end of this leg up, and then we can get an actual pullback to buy, but we'll see.
Yeah, like look at this. So Stitch Fix, right? All at the purple line. That's where. So the system, again, my system alerts, and that sends the order to Interactive Brokers, and the trades get made. And so, right, Stitch Fix, Array, QuantumScape was already stop out. It was a buy right here, and then stopped at that low. This West, I have no idea what this is. ITOS, Space, and PSX, and right, all of them doing
company though, but the rest.
Yeah, Google there, guys. Out Google there. Q's starting to roll over a little bit here. So I'm out of the Google trade there. Just would rather take the small hit there. It's still up 71 on the day, but just seems like there's not much action going on. And I still feel like the SPY is pretty weak for what it's doing here on the daily chart. It could still start to go red really quickly here. So watch out, traders.
That got me too. I mean, I'm still watching VWAP can recover, but that's not really what I wanted to see.
Yeah, we are.
I take one more shot on the VIX here just to put a little bit more of the house's money to work here.
Yeah, the Bears can't get going. The Bulls can't get going. This is, again, the market makers. If you find the local market maker bar in New York, they're gonna be
loving it.
You find the local speculator bar, and they're all sad. This is the days. Market makers hate days like yesterday because they are contractually obligated to be shorting into this rip, and that's got to be very painful. So they don't make money during those days. They love these days right here, which is why us as speculators have to be very, very patient and diligent to not overtrade the days like this. You don't want to give those guys money. They usually have enough. They lost a lot yesterday, so they're making a lot back today. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's so many charitable people who just love donating to market makers. And I mean, personally, I think that there are other places that could probably use that money in better ways. But hey, if that's your form of charity, I suppose that's okay too. I try not to do too many of those donations. I've done enough over the years.
They'll take your money if you give it to them.
Shake it out of your pockets on both
That's
sides.
why I always love like the GameStop AMC crowd of, oh, we're really gonna get Citadel by buying AMC stocks. I'm like, if you really wanted to screw Citadel, you would dollar cost average into the SPY and just that's it. That would really stick it to Citadel. Citadel loves that you're buying these failing companies over and over again because they're not long, they're not short, they're just taking a little bit every time you place a trade. And they're selling these options to you that are expiring, right? If you really hate Ken Griffin, just dollar cost average into the SPY. Use a broker like Interactive Brokers that you're paying a commission, and man, you'll really get him then. Until then, he's loving life.
All right, guys,
as long as
getting
you're
a little
selling
spike
more
here on the VIX,
than-
adding.
Man, yeah, that's an ugly sell.
I'm going for it, guys. We'll see what happens. I'm adding in here on the VIX here.
So we have a nice little kind of ramp down potentially as we sweep each set of these stops and get 3 sets of bulls out of the market here. So it'll be interesting to see if that does that and then there's a change of character or if it's just a continuation. I always like to look at and see what happens when stops get run because that was often the target short term, and then it's like, okay, well, what are the new market participants going to do after the people took this quick short trade to stop people out there?
Yeah. I took the shots, guys. I opened up a Palantir there, also short there. We'll see what happens here, guys. It's going to be a little bit of a shake here, I think, for sure. Towards the late afternoon is where I think you got to really watch for a bigger trend developing. That could be towards like 1 or 2 p.m. So watch towards that action, and definitely a good day to know where the lunch traders are at.
Yeah, it was. I'd love to say it was a fun day, but I think I took 2 trades and both lost. So I'm just like, what do I do?
Hey, it was a day to take what you got. Take what you got out there, right? I did that a little bit, and I was at least able to end green. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. Like always, guys, we're going to keep battling in this market. We'll see what happens with the news. Google conference today. You got Trump talking, a lot of Fed talking. So what does that mean? Eyes on the swivel, guys, looking around to see what's going on. Watch streets, watch what's going on, and definitely don't miss that Trump conversation, especially at 3 o'clock. That's going to be a tough time. And the market may, like everyone that swing trades, especially comes on at that time, they're going to be looking to jump all over that. Watch out there, guys. Eldon saying no trades for me today. It's time to go on a walk. Well, like always, guys, you guys can go ahead and take a break and join the Discord after. Keep it going, guys. We always got a lot more for you guys right here, and we'll see you guys back next time, guys. Smash the like before you get out so you guys always show us that you guys support us, and we keep going right here on Trade the Pool.